So right here I'm getting a sort of base planet sketch idea. And I drew the circle mostly just to get an idea for how the sort of cityscape would kind of converge. And as you can see, it's reaching up into the sky with like tendrils. I'm drawing this character in the foreground holding these two energy blasting pistols. Actually, it was meant to be slime at first, but I kind of changed how it looked in the final product. You'll see later. This armor was actually the hardest part. It was a bit inspired by Cruelty Squad. Not in the moment, but now looking back, this is quite inspired by Cruelty Squad, which is also why the music I chose for this video was from Cruelty Squad, from Pharmacokinetics, and a couple others. I'm adding all these sort of valves and pipes, and it's honestly a bit too, like, I don't know, complicated. It's just a lot to take in. It's a mix of organic and material. But honestly, most of this ends up staying until the final product, which actually ends up looking quite nice. I'm doing a lot of my lines pretty stylized here, going over them multiple times to give them a sort of thickness, which I tend to like. And that arm there is meant to be like sort of merged with the gun. And it kind of is a gun. That's what I was going for there, and I'm going for doing like a complete redo, as you can see, going for a more simple approach because it just looked, I don't know, it just looked, there was too much going on that I wouldn't have been able to kind of mute with all the other colors. So I feel like this final sketch turned out a lot better. It's much more simple. The lines are straighter. And I actually have to admit, this version came out after I watched Spider-Verse. You can kind of see some inspiration there. And the planetscape, this part was very difficult to sketch. I had so much, just, I don't even know how to say that. Like, you could see I had to do a different shade of color for each one, and I would have to go darker and darker for the side and the top. And I ended up like making different layers for each one, and I added shading. That was kind of like spray paint shading, and that ended up looking very nice. Like I thought it ended up looking very nice. And it was mostly just pinks and reds and oranges, sort of warm, cool colors like on the border. And coloring in the base color for my character here, adding in space. Space is pretty easy to draw once you make your own brush that can mimic the pattern of stars. I actually might post a tutorial on how to do that. But as you can see, I'm working on my final lining for the character. I didn't end up doing lines for the planet because that would have kind of simplified it, and it's not really meant to be simple. It's not meant to be like the foreground focus. It's meant to be a more complicated background. But I'm working on a bit of the shading here. I just colored in with the line, and I went back and undid that because it didn't really look that nice. But I didn't color in the smoke from either gun, and this is where I had a bit of I started coloring in the character more. With one of the arms is meant to be like crystallized, and so that's why it's all one color opposed to the rest of it. And that gun over there wanted to be blue so it would stand out from the rest of the character. The shading was actually quite hard. I decided to go for a smudge approach, which you might know from my last video, and I think it ended up looking much better than like the more streamlined, flat shading approach. But I'm going for a bit of a pink shading for this. I'm going for like lighting now. I even added some to the smoke coming out of the blue gun, and I thought it looked really nice. It ended up looking quite unique. Now on the right side, I added a little blast coming out of the goo there, and this is where I believe focus on the logo more, adding some glow to the back of them to kind of make them stand out. That was actually a bit of a struggle, so I ended up outlining him, and I think it ended up looking quite nice. And here's where I make the logo, and I think this turned out very nice. It kind of flows as one object, but it's not. It doesn't literally. And yeah, that's how it turned out. Hope you like it.